Are you a glass half full or glass half empty kind of person? Okay, I wanted to chat to that topic today because it's our focus that governs how we land up thinking and behaving during the day and in our lives in general. So I like to use the analogy of a filing drawer. Your mind is like a little filing cabinet. If you focus on something specific out in the real world and you then open that drawer in a filing cabinet, so imagine you pull out the drawer and inside are those holders, aren't they? Those little folders that slide in and hang on the edges of the hinges, right? Now, you choose which filing cabinet you're going to draw out, and then secondly what file you're then going to then open. And what happens with the mind is that once you go in there, you then find that there's a whole raft of other ones that you can then choose. So then you open another one, and then you open another one, and then you open another one, and then can you see how it actually works? So it all starts with that initial thought. It's where is my mind actually going? How am I going to think about this? And we choose, this is all part of our internal rhetoric. You know, I talk about my parrot shoes, how we land up with a little parrot that goes in our ears. That is all started because you chose to think about whatever it was. Now, normally the parrot is a negative, like chit chat sitting on your shoulder going, no, this is, oh, and then that happens, oh, and then that happens, oh, and then that happens, oh, and then that happens. So it feeds you down into a downward spiral effectively. So first of all, we have to become aware that my filing cabinet has my positive drawer and my negative drawer, right? So we've got two different drawers that we can pull from. And you can go, right, today I am not going to go into that negative drawer. I'm going to go into the positive drawer. And I'm going to now teach my parrot, because you can train parrots to speak, can't you? You can go, right, look, well, Polly says, diddle-a-da, let's retrain that parrot to have more positive rhetoric, not the negative rhetoric. So first of all, you have to identify that that's even happening. Most people aren't even aware, or if they think about it, go, oh yes, I've heard about like Dr. Amen. He talks about ants, the automatic negative thoughts, I think he calls it. There's all sorts of terminologies now that people have adopted, but they're kind of like, they're quite blasé about it. Like, they go, oh yes, I've heard about that. And, they quite literally swipe it aside just like that. They just go, oh, well, yeah. Oh, I can't control that. Oh, I don't know how to do that, or whatever, that's all that positive thinking BS, Well, here's the thing, that is exactly the issue. If you start making excuses for being in your negative drawer, sweetheart, that's where you're going to end up being. You are going to be the glass half empty for the rest of your life. And what then happens is you start seeking evidence to compound your theories, your belief system, and it becomes part of your identity. So people who live too much in that negative drawer, they become really negative people. And in psychology terms, even if anyone knows Gil Boyne, he was a really famous hypnotherapist in his day. And he talked about body armory, and you can see how negative they are. It just by the way that they hold themselves, the way that they walk, the way that they talk, their whole life is governed by. So I'll give you an example of this. I had an incident recently where someone reversed into the back of our car, and was having this interaction with someone who, in a place where a panel beater. Took a while getting that out, and the person comes across as really angry, like probably not the ideal position to be in customer service. Very abrupt, very short, very curt. All words is saying exactly the same thing. Sorry for that, but it's just. You're immediately backing off because of the energy the vibe that you're actually getting from them. So, you know, and it's like, do you really want to be that person? If you're going, she's got an anger draw going on, you know, or some serious negativity thing going on. And then, you know, you've got the other option of, do I really want to be like that? That whole draw right there is that really helping you? It's going to give you hypertension, you know, high blood pressure. You're going to have probably heart issues. You're triggering your cortisol levels. Your adrenals are probably going to go into overdrive if you're living your whole life like that. What kind of health impact is that? What kind of impact is that going to have on the people around you with your relationships? What kind of relationship do you have to yourself even? So it's that whole thing of, it starts with, what's your filing cabinet and which drawer are you even going to open in the first place, right? So can we change it from that? Absolutely, because this is all learned. There's something there that triggered and re-triggered and triggered and re-triggered that person to get to a place where that is now an automatic rote. If you've watched my videos before, it's like one of those old vinyl records that it starts playing that groove. You know, when you play a vinyl record, it plays a song, and it's the same song that they just play over and over, but they have got it down tap. It's kind of like learning how to drive a car or ride a bike. First, you don't know what you're doing, and before you know it, after you've practiced it over and over and over again, it just becomes rote. It becomes second nature. And then it governs, in some cases, it can govern your behavior without you even realizing. So you're not even intending to be that way, but you'll end up being that way. So, get aware. You know, what is my filing cabinet? What today, if I know, first of all, maybe you're not even aware of it. And sometimes I run the exercise with some people of, ask people around you, you know, if you had an adjective to describe me, what would it be? You know, and is it happy? Is it sad? Is it angry? Is it irritated? Is it fearful? Is it what is it that is your negative draw, your main one? And it's not always, I was going to say, not always something that you want to hear. Most of the time it's not, if it's a negative one, because those are the things that we know we have to work on, right? And that takes work. You know, work takes work. It's a four-lettered word sometimes. And then there's a whole issue where they go, well, I don't know, you know, I'm not really comfortable with addressing that, or I'm not ready to, or I don't want to. And dare I say, there's a lot of people who are really comfortable in being negative. There's a benefit to being negative sometimes. There's always a benefit for whatever it is that they're doing. It's protection. It's, you know, quite often it's protection if I'm thinking about it. You know, if I get angry, then they'll stay away from me and they won't attack me. If I'm negative and, you know, I just want to have peace and quiet, I just want to be left on my own. You know, so there's always a positive intention that actually sits behind it, believe it or not. Okay, may not be obvious, and it's quite hard to digest that one when you first actually come across that concept. But when you start looking at every single behavior, there is a positive intention that sits behind it. You've got to ask, what is that driver, so that you can go, there's a better way that we can achieve that. We can go this way through the positive draw, not the negative one. So it might be, for example, in the case of, you know, someone who's really negative, it's like, well, if you want peace and quiet, instead of, you know, being negative and pushing people away, just say, do you know what? I love my company with you, but right now I do need a bit of time out. I just need a bit of headspace. I just like to do my reading of my book or whatever it is that, you know, they're probably Kindle or device these days. But just how you go about going there is different. You can still achieve the same outcome, but in a different way. So first of all, you have to get clear about what your draw is. Okay, so have a think about that today. That's your challenge for today. What is my negative draw that, if I chose to address it and get brave enough, that I will actually go there? And then start going, okay, as soon as I start going, oh, I didn't notice I even did that. Clock what your pattern is. Clock what that record is that you're playing. Clock what, oh, I didn't even know that I came across as, you know, angry or irritated or fearful or sad or whatever it is. And then try and get a clarity on what that is so that you can start identifying that pattern. And then once you start doing it, go, okay, I'm going to interrupt that pattern, and today I'm going to focus on only things that are going to be positive. It's going to be really hard for some people to do, especially if they are so comfortable playing the negativity, card. So for me, I'm a glass, half full, or is always full. To me, it's like, if it's not full, I'll find a way to fill it. Okay, so I look for things that are going to fulfill me, bring me joy. If I'm not having joy, I bring joy. I make it happen. If there's no laughter, I'll bring in the laughter. I've got a comedy store. I actively go out and look for it and bring it into my life and those who care to share it as well. So this is your challenge for today. Identify what it is. What's your negativity drawer? What's keeping you in the glass half full, or half empty, I beg your pardon, and how can you change it where it's half full or even full? Okay, if you're half full, how can you make it a full glass? Okay, so what is it that will take you to that next level, that will either get you out of the negativity drawer and get you into a more positive half full concept, and then where you start training your mind to look for things that are going to keep you positive. And if you're already in the glass half full, how can you then lift it to the full glass? So it's like, okay, I like my glass half full, but actually I quite like a full glass. So why not? Let's lift up our game so that we're the best version of ourselves possible. What can I do that's going to lift my game up to the next level where I can bring more positivity in and have a glass full, not just half full? Okay, so hope you found that useful. Your shoes, your path, your way. So I'll see you in the next one. Namaste.